Greetings, Group 144. Greetings. I was listening to some music just before I started the live. Greetings, one and all. Thank you so much for giving me the platform to be able to teach and to be able to share my views and my thoughts regarding specific topics that are really near and dear to me. So I'm just going to allow people to come into the live. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, my loves. Guys, I have a really important topic to talk about today, and honestly, it's kind of been a work in progress, and because I was kind of in my mind about like how am I gonna formulate today's lesson specifically because I knew that there were specific tiers or legs of love that I felt needed to be addressed. So last week we spoke about, hey, thanks for the invite. Oh, well, my pleasure. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about two things specifically, mainly because as I was going through and I was just channeling messages from the divine, and I came across a few things, right? So in my notes because I'm in the dark right now. I don't know if they're visible, but yeah. So obviously, one thing that I always do when I'm trying to break down a specific topic or whatever it is we have to do a numerological breakdown, right? So we have to do a numerological breakdown with whatever word, if you're conducting a lesson or whatever it is, on a specific word, it's important for you to even understand what that word's energetic code is, because remember, numbers are the language of truth. Numbers are the language of truth, and if you use numbers you can truly find the essence of a word, and what dimensional position it's in, and its relationship to duality and in this realm right now. So it's very, very important to do a numerological breakdown. And once we start covering numerology, I want to teach everybody to start analyzing the numbers that are around us, and what all of those numbers are saying to us, what they're communicating. Because remember, numbers are the language of truth. It's not, they're not depicting anything good or bad, but they are depicting the truth. So it's important for, even when you read a word, for you to know the hidden meaning. What is the energetic code of this word, this name, this phrase, right? Every single thing that comes out of our mouths from our throat chakra carries frequency, and those frequencies, depending on whatever level and dimension that they come from, will be projected through what it is that you're saying with your mouth. So it's really, really important for us to use these types of analytics when we are handling any type of topic. So a couple of things that I want to just work through. So I mentioned that I was going to be covering fear today, and like I mentioned, I did do a numerological breakdown of the word fear, and the word fear is 6519, which adds up to 3. So the word fear comes from the element of the water, specifically because it is an emotion, right? Emotionality is essentially the way that the water is interacting with frequency, right? So if you're able to emit a specific type of frequency in the water, you can sort of get some type of like reaction or movement or shape or whatever it is. So frequency and water came into play, and they formed the principality of fear. And when I was just going through the motions and just trying to analyze, what fear is truly. And, I found that it's actually it's the core of duality. Without fear, there wouldn't be this relationship between duality that we have in the universe. The structure of the universe wouldn't exist without fear. We wouldn't have symbols of light and darkness, good and bad, good and evil. All of those aspects of duality or extremity, were separated because the light, they were separated because of fear, right? Because a shadow aspect of whatever it is, felt it needed to be projected in order for, I guess, for a greater understanding of that particular energy to be established in the first place. So evil is a child of fear. So fear began as the emotion of, uncertainty, kind of like that vibration, that feeling of just not knowing how to navigate the steps moving forward, that aspect of uncertainty, not knowing even how you're going to be able to feel, when you're meant to be moving forward or whatever it is. So uncertainty, a lack of knowledge. Remember, the multiverse, through space and time, is information, right? It's information through the cosmos. And if you can imagine, if all creation or all creators reign from an aspect that is, or a dimension that is unified, and one carried the seed of exploration, of wanting to know more, but also feared that aspect of wanting to know more, because what if more isn't what they want? What if more isn't the thing that, is going to bring them happiness and all of that? But you still have that pull towards exploration through information, right? So you develop fear because you don't have the information. You don't necessarily have a connection to the information that allows you to develop enlightenment. All right, let me see. Somebody said something. The highest frequency is love and the lowest frequency is fear. Well, no. No, fear is not the lowest frequency. But it is a low frequency. Yes, the highest frequency is love, because love is quite literally connected to number 9. Love is number 9, right? So number 9 is the number of completion. It is the one and the all. If you add up numbers from 1 to 9, you're gonna get 36, and 36 is 3 plus 6 is 9. So ultimately 9 is that aspect of oneness, unity, beginning and end, the cycle, the completion. So which means every aspect of creation that exists outside of the multiverse, inside, throughout, the length and the breadth of the realm of time, has that aspect of love, because it has that aspect of beginning and end, that aspect of oneness. Even its structure forms a solid unit, right? So that aspect of oneness, the gathering of the cells, is quite literally a process of love, a process of beginning beginning something and then finishing it, and then moving on to another, and then beginning it again and finishing it. So that vibration, quite literally, is the vibration of all, that reigns throughout the cosmos, from the source to the very end of creation. Right. Dissolving old fears, attachments, and illusions. Yeah, guys. Okay, so this is what I wrote when I was channeling all emotions opposing love are born from fear. Yes, so that's why I said, okay, let me just read this this active channel that I because I channeled these some information about fear. So I said, fear is the core of duality, because fear seeks to separate, and duality is the state of separation expressed through extremity. Light is light, as it is only distinguishable as light in the presence of darkness, and vice versa. Light is source energy that moves. Okay, guys, my handwriting is insane. That starts moving, and when the light begins to move, it illuminates its path, leaving traces of its essence. So picture a light, right? Picture the sun, right? When the sun moves through the sky, so the sun moves from the east to the west in the sky. When this is a light force, so this is essentially what I was trying to depict through this terrible handwriting. From the east, the sun rises. That is our light source. We see it and it's moving. But if the sun just stayed in one position, it would just be the light. Then we'd know that this realm, you know, does not experience darkness. So you know that everything is illuminated and you don't need to attach yourself to any aspect of fear because you know that everything is illuminated. And but also at the same time, the illumination in itself is an aspect of extremity. So light says no, we can't stay in one position, we have to move, right? So from the east to the west, and as you're moving away from where you originally were, having left traces of your essence, the place that you were previously at is kind of like operating at a lesser expression of light because of the distance between the source of the light and where the light worked or was, right? So that essentially is kind of like the relationship between space and time. Space and time is ultimately light illuminating the path and moving through. And when light moves, obviously we know that the sun's resonance, the sun's radiation basically, wakes up the planet, and that's figuratively and literally, quite literally, giving life to all forms, right? So we know that the impact and the essence and the imprint of the sun is life activation. And as it moves through space and time, yes, its resonance, even its heat, is trapped and left behind, on the earth. Just like right now, it's really, really, hot. But it was hot during the day. We still feel the presence of the light, of our light source in this moment. So moving through space and time, that essentially was, I guess, the first way that duality was expressed, because the pieces that the pieces of creation that existed because of the light, because they were touched by the light in that moment that the light was in the vicinity that it was currently in at the time that it was moving through space and time. Or rather, it was moving through space, and as it was moving through space, it was creating time, because it was creating, experiences or rather matter, leaving it behind. And that matter essentially has an age, right? It has a birth date, and that birth date of the atom, that was formed or established from the relationship between space and time. Space and time in themselves are elements, right? And when the light moves through space and time, it does have a relationship with certain variables in specific regions and vicinities, and all of those variables develop and move on to form single cell organisms such as atoms, etc., etc. So you know that the light affects the environment that it is currently in as it moves, and when it moves away, it still affects the environment, because the environment longs to receive that boost, that light again. And away, it sees the light moving away. It's like, oh my god, it's kind of like watching the sunset. If you were to look at it from the perspective of what I'm talking about, seeing that, oh wow, as the sun is setting and kind of disappearing from the sun, you're understanding that, oh wow, the sky is changing. The light, the way that light has a relationship with the day has changed. So change and distance were the variables and the tool, or the variables that added towards creating that seed called fear, right? So you can just imagine whatever creation that formed the universe that we currently live in, that is kind of the dimension of fear, had firstly expressed an aspect of distance from the source, from the light source, whether if it was the source that moved away, and because their consciousness brought them to the fact that the source is now moving away, and kind of like not necessarily moving away physically, but kind of like the source you're moving away from the source as you are becoming a later and later expression of creation, as the source is continuing to create and kind of pumping out more and more creation. You're moving through space and time, being pulled, I guess, by the force of creation further and further from the source. So you're like, wow, I'm no longer as tethered physically to the source because of all this information in between us. This information, if you know it, can be enlightening and allow you to eliminate aspects of fear. But if you don't, will create an aspect of the unknown, or you having to look forward ahead of you to continue what the source was doing, and continue and be your own creator. So that aspect of being tossed with the responsibility of having to be the source yourself in that moment, after the source has given you source energy and creation, and allowed your body to form as this multicellular being. And now you're in a space where now you have to create, now you have to decide. And that aspect of not knowing, because you always just were, you just be, now you have to be at a place where you have to create, so you can just imagine if the God who created this universe was like, okay, well, I created you. Well, the source was like, well, I created you. You can go and create your own little world now because you guys are creators. That's why I created you, to create more, So I can just keep pumping, gods like you, so that they can create more, so that the cycle of life and the multiverse can continue for all of eternity. Now, this aspect of being is like, whoa, I don't even know what that means. What do you mean, So I feel like when I think about fear, the essence of fear, it's not that it was even separate from love. It was just that moving forward, that idea of the unknown caused fear to become something dark and sinister. Remember, every single thing has a shadow and a light aspect. Fear in itself, though we want to condemn as this low vibrational aspect of being, it is also an opportunity. It's more of your consciousness letting you know that you don't know. You don't know. You don't know if this is going to work out. You don't know if you're going to be okay, if anyone loves you, if your family loves you. You don't know if you're going to die tomorrow. That aspect of not knowing, of not being connected to the versions of you that are still yet to be created. So, yeah, that's basically what I came up with. So I'm just going to try and read the rest of, and then I'll just read the comments quickly. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I feel like this channel, maybe I don't need to read this channel, because I feel like this channel was just basically a channel to help me. So one thing that I noticed is that the word God, because today, 222, thank you. The word God, I found today is, it adds up to number 8, right? So the numerical code of God is 764, right? So 764 breaks down to number 8. So it adds up to the digits 7, 6, and 4 all add up to 17, and 17 is 8. So 8 is connected to infinity, right? So infinity is space and time. So what that helped me understand is that the realm of creation is space and time, but creation also has a source, and that source established the creator of creation, or the creators of creation, or the multiple universes. And that field, that space of infinity, where beginnings and endings are continuously rotating and vibrating through space and time for multiple timelines and multiple trillions and quintillions of years, right? So that space is the realm of light, where light moves from one position to another, leaving, traces of its essence, allowing for more expressions of creation and, the tethers, that it leaves of itself, or traces of itself, right? Kind of like these neuro circuits that are kind of like expressions of light, or streams of light, streams of conscious light that are left behind as the light moves through space and time. So we understand that, okay, this little playground that is called infinity, that is called the multiverse, is the realm of God, anchored around the number of 8. And we know that, okay, in this realm, from the first to the 8th dimension, that's the highest frequency is God. But in the realm of creation and the realm beyond, the highest frequency is love. So in order for you to overcome even fear, like fear, because once you overcome fear, you understand that it's all happening for your highest good. Even the scary stuff, even the stuff that delays you, even the stuff that you're uncertain about, even the information that you're still yet to learn, all of these feelings and all of these prospects that are ahead of you are happening for your highest vibrational good. The things that may feel like they make you afraid. Because remember, another thing that kind of makes fear, especially powerful, is because of the way that our nervous systems are wired. So your nervous system is wired to, protect you from any threat. And, the unknown in itself is a threat, because the realm of creation is a realm of information, right? What we can perceive, from where we are to the horizon is information. If you look up into the sky, you see the stars, although you may not see their, distinct properties and what's happening in the different planets around them. But you're seeing information. You're seeing there are light forces in the sky that may be influenced by other forces that maybe my naked eye may not see. So having to fathom that there could be something beyond, or having to analyze or work through the information, is scary because it's hard. So fear was born from a place of ignorance, firstly, not knowing the unknown, and also dread, because you're like, oh my God, I thought I came from an infinite source that was beyond the prospects of the unknown. Now I have to create my own world. What if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't, what if it doesn't look right? And that doubt and occasional assurance are the push and the pull that through space and time form creations. So whether you're afraid or not, you're still creating. So that's how we ended up coming to this place. The God that formed and created this universe was afraid, but still had to create this place. And we are products of both fear and confidence, ultimately becoming love. And yeah, I hope that was comprehensive enough for you guys. God is love. Well, God is infinity. God is a product of love. Yeah. All things are love. Like I mentioned earlier on, love is number 9, right? It's connected to the number 9, the ninth dimension. Number 9 is ultimately an expression of the natural progression of energy. So whatever forms from a essential source to an ultimate super organism, that essentially, that process of beginning and end, whether it is a single cellular organism, it has its own cycle of beginning and end. All of these cycles of beginning and end, or beginning and completion, being started and being completed and being connected to that aspect of identity, that's love, right? It's not about like the feeling that we've been taught to you believe, when it comes to movies and stuff like that, because even that feeling too, but remember, emotion, right? Emotion in itself, I think, more than anything, more than viewing fear as a low vibrational entity, emotionality in itself is a third dimensional expression of being, because it is, subject to change, right? And the only constant, yes, is change, but you can go through a multitude of emotions in one day. But that doesn't change the fact that you are a product of love, a mass culmination of multiple cycles compressed through space and time to form this complete being. That is the number 9 cycle that formed who you are. That is love. That is what formed the multiverse. So if you check those cycles duplicated from the smallest to the greatest scale, all of it is just the same cycles repeated over and over again. So yeah, the consistent thing that we can all say is consistent is the fact that love is the highest frequency. Love is higher than God. So if you're like in a place where you are feeling fear, the vibrate or fear, like fearful, like that aspect of terror, because there's fear and there's different levels of fear, remember this. And that's why, yeah, well, I'll talk about that on another day, because I did want to talk about, specifically give a breakdown of the type of entities that come from fear, but that's besides the point. Those are, entities that did not, or formed from an alchemized space. So if you think about how even demonic entities, what they are ultimately are beings or aspects of creation that didn't fully become, or didn't experience completion, or that aspect of completion. No human being is all bad and or all good, because you are, I guess, a combination of two extremes, two poles, just compressed in space and time into one unit. So those two poles, had to move through space and time, at a distance, to meet together, to create that relationship between your molecular functioning, your fundamental energetic functioning. So, some entities were born from emotion, and that emotion is like, okay, well, so now the sources from the third dimension, but most processes start from the first, from the first dimension. So that aspect of, demonic entities came from fear. They came from emotion, right? And, they metastasized and formed into later versions and expressions of, that type of duplication of energy from that source, and were never allowed to express anything more than that particular energy and frequency and vibration that they were established from. So even they quite literally, could benefit from alchemy, from the alchemical process of being reestablished or reconnected to the cycle of death and rebirth, and be able to experience an aspect of completion to reintegrate with love. Nothing is ever truly bad. Nothing is ever fully bad, right? Especially in the realm of duality. I was thinking, Wuti, these entities that are, that were formed and they built the system of the world and all of that, like they're like fundamentally evil. And I'm like, oh, they're pure evil. But nothing is pure evil, and no one is pure evil. Because all of it just comes from fear, and fear comes from a place of needing to connect. So, yeah, I love you guys and have the best night. And yeah, do you have any questions for me before I close? Is God not all that is, everything? All that is in creation, in the realm of creation, in the realm of space and time. But there is a realm beyond space and time, the realm that created space and time. Creation has a creator, and the creators have a creator as well. So if you can think about even 1 to 9 being a dimensional expression, right? If we can think, okay, let's say this universe is in the 3D, right? Let's say that this particular universe that we're currently in is in the 3rd dimension, right? Or yeah, so the 3rd dimension. So we have a multiverse. Let's say that there's a universe that is in the 1st dimension. There's a universe in the 2nd, and we are in the 3rd. And then there's a universe in the 4th and the 5th, all the way up to the 9th. If you think about the natural progression of energy, even that multiversal expression has its own cycle that it's going through, as each dimension is also experiencing its own alchemical functioning that allows it to transcend the space and dimensional expression that it was created in. We're all created to transcend the place that we were created from, to become creators ourselves. All right, guys, I don't see any questions, so I love you guys. Thank you. All right, I think we're done. Here. I didn't want to have a long live today, guys. Whoever didn't hear the beginning of this lesson, whoever wasn't able to attend this lesson, these lessons, or any other lesson actually, these lessons will be uploaded on the Group 144 YouTube page. We are trying to build a YouTube page. I mean, we're not doing a great job at it, but we're doing our best to build the YouTube page. I will definitely try to do more of promoting it so that people can get more of the lessons, because I know that maybe you guys may have missed 1 or 2 of them. They're on the YouTube page. It's Group 144 Cradle 9. That's the YouTube page. There's a link in my bio that goes to the YouTube page. So we will be uploading the lessons that we haven't uploaded yet on YouTube, to get everybody caught up as best as we possibly can. Thank you guys for attending the lesson number 8. We're anchored. We're closing in the energy of 8. I'm so blessed and I'm so grateful to all of you guys. I wish you the best evening, and yeah, we will touch base tomorrow, talking about something else. Yeah, I do have some really important stuff that I want to talk to you guys about tomorrow, but we will talk about that tomorrow. Good night, guys. Balance, love, and truth.